Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest Battlefield game to grace the earth, its presence, is not made by Activision Blizzard, it's not made by DICE, it's not made in the Unreal Engine, it's not made in the Cry engine either, it's not made by any AAA gaming company either. No. It is instead, and in fact, made by three dudes in a shed and looks like Minecraft. Well, I am right. I'm exaggerating for comedic effect, obviously, but not by much. You see, this is Battlebit Remastered. And good God, it is glorious. This is one of the most fun multiplayer shooter games I've ever played. And everything I said about it previously, the fact that it's made by three dudes and looks like Minecraft and they are on a very, very limited budget, yeah, all of that is true. I'm not exaggerating that part. Minecraft bit, well, okay, it's not exactly Minecraft, but you get the general idea. This game is awesome. However, well, let's say like this, that most people, let's say, oh wow, there's someone on the other end of that as well. Most people that I believe, well, at least this is how it seems like to me, most people that are just on the internet in general seem to have made a video about this. Like, everyone's talking about this game. And that's a good thing. I fully support this game gaining more and more popularity and all of that. Don't get me wrong. Seriously, I cannot hit shit with this SMG. Oh, whoops, I probably shouldn't have said that this early on in the video. That's a shame. Either way, there goes the monetization, so we might as well begin with the video now, I suppose. Despite its simplistic-looking visuals and blocky appearance, this game brings pretty much, I think, everything that all of the Battlefield enjoyers wanted in their game since, well, the dawn of Battlefield 2, basically. This game has it all. Tanks, vehicles, good maps focusing on different things, a variety of maps. It only costs $15 and it's in early access, by the way, so there's more to come still, but never mind that. More so than just the maps and everything, it also provides great balance and polish off the get-go. Some of it... Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way right now. It hides some of its missing features and imbalances with the sheer speed of combat and the chaos. If you were to slow down combat a little bit, you would notice that some things aren't particularly well balanced. That some maps favour one side, or one type of playstyle over another, and so on and so forth, or one class over another. But regardless, it's still in early access. The developers are working very, very actively to balance all of these things out properly. They're looking for feedback from literally everyone in the community playing the game, so at the end of every battle you can submit your feedback to them, and you can tell them, oh, I didn't like this, and I think you should fix it, so there you go. So in all respect, this is phenomenal, but more so than just being a good game, it proves, I think, one thing that most of gamers, I believe, have known to be true for a very long time. It just now demonstrates that, I think, very well, and that is that gameplay is king. You see, it doesn't matter if you have the greatest graphics, it doesn't matter how many voxels or polygons you can fit into the screen and what resolution textures you have. The most important thing is, am I having fun with the game? And if the game's fun, there's nothing else you need. That's it. Nothing else matters. Everything is irrelevant other than, the fun you're having. Everything else is, well, maybe not irrelevant, but everything else is secondary. And that's exactly what this game has in spades. Fun. Just raw, unadulterated, awesome fun. There's different ways to play the game. There's different roles for you to fill in. For example, right now I'm playing as a assault or a stormtrooper, I suppose you would call it, right? My job is to, well, storm enemy positions with an assault rifle, with lots of grenades, and that's what I'm about to do, basically, right? If I were to play a sniper, I'd be hanging in the back and waiting for, you know, enemies to make mistakes, and then go after them, and, well, not go after them, but, you know, shoot them, basically, with a long-range scope. A very, very long-range scope. This game is, in fact, not afraid to give you a ×15 or a ×20 scope, because, well, one, armies in the world realistically do use those, believe it or not. They don't just use 4x scopes like Ubisoft would have you believe in most of their games. Jokes aside, scopes are notoriously difficult to balance in games, but with the speed of combat, this gets away with having really powerful sniping positions and really powerful sniper rifles. There's huge maps, there's all kinds of vehicles. In fact, the largest battles you can have are, I believe, 127 versus 127. Oh yes, that is a lot of people to put on one map, but despite this, the game runs flawlessly. I mean, well, at least for me, I should provide some... I should distance myself from making, you know, such absolute claims and hedge my claim a little bit, but for me, at least, the game runs flawlessly. There's no hiccups, it hasn't crashed. Yeah, there's occasional bugs in the game, but like I said, early access, that's to be expected and normal. The revive mechanic, I think, works really well and contributes to a overall very positive atmosphere, I think, in battles, where your allies are reviving you and anyone can revive anyone, just the medics are a little bit better at it and the medics can actually heal you, because you get revived with a low amount of HP. There is no HP counter on the screen, but HP does in fact exist and work. There's different game modes, but most of them are, well, at least most servers seem to run either this frontline game mode or the classic conquest game mode. Okay, the sun glare did get in the way, but that's no excuse for just how terrible of a shot that was. Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, this is an important position. I'm going to keep fighting here. Alright, and try and aim a little bit better. I do apologise for the gameplay. Firstly, I've started playing the game yesterday, so I'm terrible at it. And more so than that, I'm also focusing on the commentary rather than my shooting and where I'm going and stuff, so I'm playing like completely on autopilot, absent-mindedly, so there you go. But regardless, it also, like, feels great to play even when you're terrible at it, which I think is very important. Say your team isn't doing all that well, and you're having one of those matches. Well, there's so many things for you to do and try out in a battle and see what works against a particular group of enemies. Maybe you want to be a sniper, maybe you want to be something else that, you know, it just keeps you entertained and engaged for so long. If you're struggling with one thing, maybe you try another, but it's not just that, there's even more to it, actually. There's a shocking amount of depth to this, where you might not necessarily expect it, given how the game looks visually. Each of the different classes has a very specific role to play in a conflict. So, the assault class is pretty much maybe the most straightforward one. You, shockingly, assault things, right? And what we're doing is we're going to go and storm places, we're going to dislodge enemies, we have tons of grenades to do it, and, you know, that's basically what the assault class is all about. But all the other ones also have very important roles to fill, and they aren't necessarily reflected in the score often, and in the kill-to-death ratio and stuff. Which means the game doesn't really focus you, the game doesn't really force you to focus on things like that. Which means you're focused instead on helping the team and having fun. And that is bloody awesome, in my modest opinion. Also, I absolutely love the ammunition system. I am now in enemy territory. I didn't know we were playing Quake, but that's fine. Never mind. Fair enough, I suppose. We did get pushed all the way back. Unfortunately, I'm going to try and do recon a little bit more, because I really like recon. It's just that I'm not that great at hitting things yet at long distances. which is a must-have skill, obviously, but at least I will try and show you. Let's see. So this is a ×8 scope. I know for a fact I can get more than this. I think I can get like a ×16 scope or something along those lines. Like I said, oh wow, he actually, well, there you go. You see, that's what you can do. You can land shots from like a kilometer away with these rifles, if you have the correct skill set, let's say. Yeah, that was less than a kilometer away, but well, there you go. Could I actually know how long it was? Remington 700. No, I don't know the range. Unfortunate. Well, never mind. There you go. Ooh, that was frustrating. Alright. Let's try again. You have a role to play with each of the classes, like I said, and I'm going to try and demonstrate some of that. But more, it is above and beyond the balance and the bugs, and which really there aren't many. It's well polished. I mean, dare I say, it has about 50 times less bugs than most of the Battlefield games did on release. And need I remind you, the budget and the number of people that worked on releasing this thing, so I think that says more than enough about the state of the current industry and all of that. But regardless, where is he? Oh, he's dead. Alright. Fair enough, I suppose. Let's see, maybe scoping at maybe sniping at slightly smaller distances will be more for me. Although, mind you, with a ×8 scope, maybe not. How do I switch to the... Oh, I don't have the alternative scope, never mind. I thought I had two attached, like one on top, one on the bottom. I do not. Not that kind of scope. That was on my 6x magnification, I think. Ah, well, in case someone wants to... How did you do this? Yeah, there you go. You have to look up, though. You're climbing. Fair enough. Grappling hook. Realistic, and you're not flying across the heavens while you're using it. Yeah? So you can have grappling hooks in games and make them fun, and have the games be realistic. I'm sorry, but when the newest Battlefield came out, the grappling hook just completely drove me away from that game for all eternity. And I was like, I'm never touching this. Not with that. Just not my style, and apparently nobody else's style either, considering the number of players in that game. Obviously, I'm not blaming just the grappling hook on that. The game is, in general, pretty terrible, but you get the general idea, I feel like. Alright. Yeah, here's where you get some of the bugs. When you try and aim like that, there's one, for example. That's what I mean. But, obviously, those things will get polished eventually. I'm looking for enemy snipers. I don't see any. So I guess that means I can focus on the enemy infantry, right? Oh, the snipers are infantry too, but what I mean is focus on some more easy targets that won't exactly be able to shoot back at this distance, he says, and then he gets shot by a sniper rifle, but hey. Now, what do these advanced binoculars do? Dunno. Alright. One down. I reckon if I stay at this angle, I won't get counter sniper fired. If that's a word. Too badly, and I can provide cover and take out anyone that peeks out of those buildings down there. Like so. And there you go. Man, this is incredibly satisfying, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, let's change the 0 to 200, because I'm noticing my bullets are dipping a little bit. I need to reload. Okay, there we go. Back in action. That's a shame. It's only an instant kill with this gun if you get a headshot. If not, they're just severely wounded, and they are bleeding, so they do need to bandage. Otherwise they will bleed to death, which a lot of people don't know, despite the game literally telling them in front of their very eyes. But hey, people learn in different ways, different methods. It's all normal. Okay. Oh, that's a shame. Like I said, the bullet drop isn't bad. You just, you know, turn the dial up a little bit, but the travel time of the bullet is something that I'm gonna need to get used to at these longer ranges of like 200 meters and stuff like that. That was incredibly satisfying too. And the pacing of the unlocks as well, like, oh, Jesus, it is so wonderful. Depending on how well you do, within a single battle you can unlock a host of things. I have no idea where this guy is, but I'm going to try and revive him. That felt like he shot me from, like, dead ahead, but I was behind this. Very weird and unusual. The game does have a little bit of a cheater problem, but that is to be, well, expected because the game is very new. And the anti-cheat system isn't the greatest, but they are working on that, and they are upgrading it to something apparently somewhat controversial, because it can take screenshots of your desktop, and they also keep voice recordings for the purposes of enforcing, you know, policy and banning people for toxic behavior and stuff like that, which people are against, and I completely understand that, I really do. It's just that I'm also kind of willing to accept that, so I don't want to call it breach in privacy, but you get the idea. I'm willing to accept that sacrifice of privacy, as long as I'm aware of it, and, you know, the players are made aware of it, which they are when they, as soon as you download the game. I'm willing to accept that in exchange for a more pleasant gaming experience, let's say, and it is very, very pleasant. I have a theory as to why. I think this game, despite what you know, might initially think about games with more simplistic graphics, I think they attract a little bit of an older and more mature crowd, and the kind of people that grew up playing Battlefield 2 and, well, maybe Battlefield 3 to some extent, right? And, well, I mean, that's me in that group, and although how mature I am, I guess that's up for debate, but they're not the kind of people that will go around spewing, you know, hateful stuff and nonsense and racism and all the other isms randomly for no reason, or at all, probably. So, yeah, it's a wholesome, I think, community and game in general. Probably, or rather possibly, for that reason. Alright, we're going to need to move up. Try and take G1, but also try and get a better position for sniping. Can we do it from over here? Yes, we can. And it would appear that some of my friends have had the same idea. They are allies, okay, I just needed to make sure. Again, sun glare, colours, mixing. Kind of hard to tell whether they had a thing above them or not. I can see you! Holy hell, okay. Put it to 500 meters, reload, Really? Oh, for crying out loud. We were about to have the duel of the century, and I'm just going to die due to attrition in enemy territory. Oh, for crying out loud. Fine. I mean, you know. How am I still in enemy territory? I'm 100 meters away from that. Okay, there we go. Jeez. Alright. Well, there you go, gentlemen. Scaled up. Apparently I'm not the only one with this idea. Seems like a sensible idea anyway, so there you go. So that was just a horrible idea to even try and get up here at a time like this. Let's not do that. Tell you what though, what I do like about this game, and what aside from everything else that I've already mentioned, is that it manages to compete really well with some of the other large-scale battle, semi-realistic military shooters out there. I'm thinking of, well, the older Battlefield games, because the newer ones are bleh. But not just them, obviously we have Hell Let Loose and, what was the other one? Oh god, I completely forgot the name of the game. I'll remember and probably put it down in the comments and get all frustrated about it. But you have a few, like, contenders and competitors out there for the throne, and this game provides a unique take enough that it sort of eclipses most of the competition and doesn't really stand in the same category. Not just because of the visuals, I mean, even with identical visuals to something like Hell Let Loose, it would still... Wow, that is embarrassing. Even with identical visuals to something like Hell Let Loose, it would still stand out due to the speed of combat and the ease and accessibility of it, I suppose. Anyone can pick up a gun, right? Anyone, it's very easy to get into, and Hell Let Loose, not so much, right? And also, it's extremely fast, way faster than any of the other titles out there, so it's very dynamic, and I feel like a lot of people are going to appreciate that. That is unfortunate that you are allowed to spawn and just die, but hey, I picked the riskier spawn position, I guess. Okay, here's one of the things that, well, a support class can do, I guess, die. Like, please get resurrected. No. Sometimes you get lobbies where people just don't resurrect at all. Yeah, thank you. Try and get this guy up. Never mind. Battle's over. Well, I feel like I've showed you a lot of the stuff. Let's take a look at some of the vehicles, I think, now. So, let's do Conquest. And, I'm now the squad leader, please no. Here's the stuff I was talking about. Rate the map, and then, you know, there you go. Snipers are an issue, vehicles are an issue, bad visibility, confused where to go, etc, etc. Whenever you have problems with the map, click here, submit. Although, like I said, I don't think this is a great way of doing things because anyone can submit stuff here. And by anyone, I mean people that haven't played a single game of this yet. So I'd maybe consider adding like a kind of a, I don't know how to put it, an experience requirement, I suppose. Maybe you have to be of a certain level, or you have to play a certain number of battles to give feedback, because I don't know how to balance these maps. I don't know whether what's considered good or bad here for different features. I mean, I'm way too new at this, you know? But anyway, regardless, I did say I have a somewhat nuanced take on this game, and so far I've been praising it like most other people. Here's my nuanced take and then a few things that I guess people might not necessarily consider when buying this game, and something that people don't really talk about all that much, and that is number 5, the gun slot. Yes, it is. That is that this game hides a lot of its imperfections with the pace and speed of combat. The troop transporters, at least that's what I've heard the opinion of the majority of players, are a bit too weak. There is no way to change loadouts at the time of recording outside of the actual battle. So if you want to put in a scope or something on your gun, you have to pause the game while you're in a battle and do that. There's no way to do that in the main menu, which means you have to waste time, you have to waste everyone else's time, and you have to cost your team basically an active player slot to fiddle around with your gear and look at your weapons. Obviously you can do that on the shooting range as well, but there's a different problem on the shooting range. On the shooting range you have everything unlocked, and if you put stuff that you don't have unlocked, it's not going to save. So it's a bit of a problem. I'd love for there to be some kind of button in the main menu where you can do stuff like that, but obviously I think it will be added fairly soon. Okay, there's no real point in shooting now, I guess. Thank you. And, you know, it's not a big deal, but then also, I have a sneaking suspicion that some of the guns are a little bit overpowered, and some of the attachments are a little bit too good, but just a little bit. And of course, when you have 120 enemies to choose from, those things don't really matter all that much. I mean, look at something that's a lot more competitive, like World of Tanks, for example, or something along those lines. A game like that, people still complain about the balance, and yet play it and enjoy it and spend a lot of money on wargaming anyway, so what are you doing? Oh, for Christ, did you get the these stuff here? Okay. There's what I want to do. Was it worth it? I don't know, honestly. Where's the rest of my team? Let's go join them and behave like a human. Right. You need to shut up for a second. Okay. Yeah. Okay, there we go. I'm focused, I'm in the zone. Hopefully we may see at least somewhat decent gameplay now. Nope, although at the same time I feel like against an AK-74 in this kind of situation I don't feel like I would have done much better had I 9 years of experience extra. But hey, alright, what do I even want to do? Medic, I guess, because we don't have a lot of those. Alright, you know what? I'm going to run around with this. I'm going to start healing people. Some of us have to support, yeah? Okay, this isn't exactly going ideally, but fine. I feel like I've essentially demonstrated a large enough chunk of the game with the vehicles and different maps and game modes and everything that I feel at least somewhat alright leaving it here for the time being. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any questions about this game, feel free to ask me down in the comments below, although bear in mind I'm very new at this, so if you have any gameplay questions I probably don't know, but as far as, you know, technical things are concerned, I'm at your disposal. The game is currently $15 on Steam, actually a little bit under, no, it is $15, a little bit under 15 euros. I bought it myself, but this is, you know, not a paid promotion or anything. Not something I would do either anyway without, at the very least, making it blatantly obvious from the start, but either way, it's just my genuine attempts to try and explain why, well, A, everyone is impressed with this game and loves it, and B, how, despite being not perfect, at being so humble in its origin, it's one of the best multiplayer shooters in the world, maybe ever. There you go. Quality-wise, this is on par against pretty much everything that DICE and Activision Blizzard have... Activision and then now Activision Blizzard have produced. And it's just... Honestly, it makes me sad more than anything that just 3 people with a very limited budget can outdo them at their own bread and butter genre, right? But they can, and they did. So, there we have it, right? Stop right there and let me heal you. Okay, listen, I'm gonna need all of you to come back to life and protect me against the inevitable incoming swarm of red players coming towards me. Now, there you go. Well, that's a BTR as well, I don't know what I'm expecting. Anywho, I've embarrassed myself enough for the internet. I'm gonna leave now and try and get better at this game and try and hopefully provide you with some actual decent footage at some point in the future. But until that happens, ladies and gents, my name is Juggernaut. Like, subscribe down below if you enjoyed and want to stay tuned with the rest of the content that I produce on the channel, which I swear to you is not this terrible in terms of the quality of the gameplay. And I will see you all, hopefully, next time. I'll put a link in the description down below for the Steam page to this game, and what it's shortly and, you know, briefly what it's about. And, yeah, check it out. It's awesome. It's probably the most fun I've had in a multiplayer game since the golden days of Battlefield 2 and Call of Duty, and Call of Duty 2 and 3 and I think 4 I played, and then Modern Warfare 2 I also played a fair bit. I was a lot younger then, obviously, and, you know, it was a special kind of experience, and I really enjoyed it, and it holds a special place in my heart, multiplayer shooters like that, and since then, I have yet to find a decent multiplayer shooter that I would really like, and I wouldn't just give up on after a few days, and there's the first one like that for me. So there you go. It's absolutely worth it. For me, this is easily a $60 game, with the amount of content, with the amount of weapons, the amount of, I mean, just everything, really. I am more than impressed with it, let's just say. And yet, despite all this, I still do think there are some flaws in the balancing, in the... even in the speed of the combat. I feel like for the amount of attention to detail, like ammo, for example, being realistic and stuff like that, I feel like the speed of combat is a little bit too quick. I've never, well, I've almost never needed ammo. And it's not just that, I feel like most other people have never needed ammo, because you just die and respawn, right? And dropping magazines is a big part of this, because, well, you either drop the magazine and reload quickly, or you don't drop the magazine, but your reload is slower, and I feel like that also would have been a much more important thing had the movement and the aiming and stuff been just a little bit slower. Maybe it's something we'll experiment with in the future. But those are like just some of the tiny nitpicks I have about the game that I think aren't exactly ideal, let's say. At least according to my taste. This is, again, mostly purely subjective, but there you go. Other than that, just a phenomenal piece of entertainment, and well worth the asking price, in my opinion, at least. Right, that's about it. Get out of here. Have fun. Take care. Bye-bye.